Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Skull Session Recruiting Podcast, brought to you by BuckeyeHuddle.com. I am Mark Givler. I've got Chuck Maletti with me. It's a signing day episode. It's a special signing day episode. It's a signing day flip episode. Ohio State has flipped four-star safety Kaden Gebhardt, a big-time prospect out of Olentangy High School in suburban Columbus, longtime Clemson commit. This has been kind of the smoke behind the scenes for maybe the last week or two. Kaden himself was pretty quiet about things, but made it official today and has signed with the Buckeyes. So the Buckeyes add a late four-star safety to the class. Juck, your thoughts?
I love it. I was so upset when he ended up committing to Clemson. I was irritated, and it felt like Ohio State didn't get in on him early enough, serious enough. And he's just one of my favorite players in the state in this class. And it just was like, man, you let this kid go to Dabo. And it really grinded my gears. But then it wasn't long after the Buckeyes got the commitment of Blaine Bradford. And then I was like, okay, if you're going to lose one out of state that I love and you bring in one to replace him, who's Blaine Bradford, I'm going to be okay with it. So then it was like, all right, cool, we're good to go. And then circling back, now that things have changed, that the transfer portal ruling came down and Ryan Day wants to make sure this class is flush, being able to double back and bring him back in the class, to me, fantastic addition. I love it. And I love him as a prospect.
Yeah, he's a really interesting player. I saw him his sophomore year in a playoff game against Springfield, and he didn't have any recruiting profiles at the time. I didn't know who he was. I was there to watch Springfield because it was close to my house. I think it was out in Upper Arlington. It was out west side of Columbus. And I'm like, oh, this will shave off 30 minutes of a drive to Springfield for me. And sure enough, if you'd have told me he had 30 tackles that night, I would have believed you. Like, that's how good he was. He was all over the place, all over the field. He's just a tackling machine. And so when they ultimately, as we run a little bit of video here, when they ultimately offered him later than some of the other big time programs, I was like, oh boy, this could be interesting. And sure enough, he goes to Clemson. And then, yeah, like you said, they got Bradford, and there just wasn't much buzz there around him in terms of him, not being comfortable with his Clemson commitment. So I was like, okay, I guess it's just not going to happen. It's disappointing. But here they go. And a great senior year to follow up his great sophomore and junior seasons. But he's a hitter, man. And I wonder, he could be an elite strong safety, but I wonder if he doesn't turn into just a dynamic linebacker that can run, and just the way he hits. I think this could be that extra linebacker in this class people were talking about, because I think the kid from Georgia that everyone's talking about is going to play edge. So this could be a strong safety pickup. It could be a linebacker pickup, but they just got a lot better on defense in this class, in my opinion.
Yeah. Braxton Rembert at 6'5", 200 is like your prototypical edge. And with that speed, I mean, he would be fantastic at it. But Gebhardt, and I remember talking to you earlier on this year, and I think I talked to probably two other people who went out to watch CJ Sana, who, for those of you watching here, CJ Sana, number 45. And Gebhardt steals the show every time. He's just like an absolute machine. A kid who's logged over 400 tackles in his high school career, which is just absolutely insane from the time he was a freshman. He had 100 tackles as a true freshman, as a freshman in high school. Nose for the ball is what you would use for a guy like this. He's just got open field tackling. He's as sure as they come. He is really quick in small spaces. He triggers really fast. I mean, I just love watching him. They put him on offense, and you can really see the explosion when he's on offense. He's the real deal, man. He's one of these underrated kids that I think absolutely is going to make a difference at some point in his career at Ohio State. I don't think he's going to be a guy who's an early starter, and I kind of agree with you. He might be better suited for linebacker when he gets a little bigger. But a kid who is a special teams hawk immediately, and a guy that we hear early on the coaching staff really loves this guy. It's that kind of kid.
Yeah, he plays so fast. And And part of it obviously is his athleticism and his quickness, but the other part of it is his instincts and his ability to kind of diagnose very quickly. And again, I go to games. I've watched him probably 4 or 5 times over the years in game settings, and it's just every play he's in on it, every single play. It's really, really unbelievable how much this kid finds the football. And there you go, even can return kicks there, but he's so fast. And like 15 years ago, I would have never in a million years said linebacker. He's athletic enough to play strong safety, but like given what else they have in the class, how their defense is built now, especially with Matt Patricia, I just look at him and I'm like, man, he could just be a nightmare of like what would be like a traditional will linebacker, who can just kind of go all, he can blitz, he can cover tight ends, he can tackle in space, he can cover. I mean, just everything you want in a defensive player. That's what this kid is. Like I said, he was one of my favorite guys in the state before he committed to Clemson. And so I'm actually, this is a great move. You're not limited by 85 anymore. So to come back and peel back on an Ohio kid, probably one of the best 4 or 5 Ohio kids this year, in my opinion. I think he's a top 5 kid in Ohio in this class. Like, I think this will not get the attention it deserves, in my opinion. I just have kind of a prediction here, but I think this should be getting more attention than it probably will get. Yeah,
I totally agree. And I think, and I'm right with you, top five kid in the state in this class. And if we're just talking like fun, this dude is fun. He is fun to watch play football. And, to your point, you're not limited by the 85 anymore. And for those who haven't followed quite everything, what we're talking about here with the, obviously everybody knows that the limit has gone up. You can go up to 105, and Ryan Day was in the crew. We're wanting to stick around 90, but that was before the ruling came down that there will no longer be a spring transfer portal. So in an effort to cover themselves for the transfer portal for late guys leaving late that they can't replace in the spring portal, that's why we're seeing some more additions. And with those more additions, you're seeing more Ohio guys and more flyers on some guys and some more developmental guys, which I love. And I think that, using those extra spots on Ohio guys that you trust are probably going to stay in the program a little longer, be a little more comfortable with the longer term trajectory. I think it's a great move. I think it's smart. I think they've really done a great job with these late ads. And I think Gebhardt is one that, wasn't on my radar at all to potentially get back in this class. So being able to get him back in the fold, it's fantastic. And like I said, this is a guy that everybody around the building is going to we're going to hear about this dude for years. It's going to be like Peyton Pierce, like one of those guys that everybody talks about, does everything right, knows everybody else's position. Like, it's just a solid rock star from day one. I really believe that this kid is definitely not going to get the buzz that he deserves. Same as you. But it'll be there at some point.
Yeah. And, in terms of path to the field, I think the first thing I got to figure out is like, okay, where exactly are we fitting you into the defense? And then once that happens, we'll see. But it's not so much about his ability for me as much as it is, this is a loaded. So if he's a linebacker, that's a loaded linebacker room right now. You're not coming in as a true freshman there. You may get to play in some type of mop-up duty or obviously on special teams, but linebackers kind of set for next year at this point between Pierce and Pettyjohn, and then you're going to have TJ Alford in there, and we can go on. They've got 4 or 5 guys coming back, or that they hope are coming back, that are really going to be good next year. And then safety is going to be interesting as well with what they've got returning there. Obviously, we'll see if they go portal there. We'll see what Malik Hartford's kind of status is at that point. I think we can safely assume Caleb Downs is not returning, but you got Jalen McClain back there. So there's going to be some tough, it's going to be some tough sledding, because here's ultimately this will be kind of a common theme for me with this recruiting class. It's not going to be so much about the talent or levels of the recruits in this class as it is Ohio State. This 26 class is following the best freshman class at Ohio State in a very long time. And it's not like an on paper thing. It's a reality thing because we've watched it play out this year. We've watched a dozen true freshmen this year, like make an impact on a team that could win a national championship. So when you have a freshman class that good, the one behind it, a lot of those guys aren't going to play like we've seen Bo Jackson play, and or even like we've seen like a an Isaiah West or a Zion Grady play necessarily, just because you've got so many guys who are going to be sophomores next year, or even some redshirt freshmen who didn't get to play as much this year just because of there's another guy at their position in their own class, and so it's going to be hard, I think, for a lot of these guys. There will be a couple that I think break through, but I think it's going to be hard for a lot of these guys to carve out roles to the extent we've seen the freshman class this year carve out roles.
Yeah, I think it's a great point. But then, on the back end, on the other side of it, you might have a lot of guys who end up leaving a little earlier too, because you see guys who, when they start playing early, even if they're not the highest draft grade, sometimes they'll go in because they've just had, they've done it, and it feels like time for the next step as well. But I think you make a good point there that, we have seen a whole lot of guys in this 2025 class, which, best since 21. These guys, tons of hits in this class, just tons of hits. And there's more coming that haven't really hit the field in a meaningful way yet. I think, to safety, Fahim Delane, I think is definitely going to be one. And I can't wait to see him next year. But yeah, Malik Hartford, so injured, not going to be able to play here in this postseason. If, they were going, him and CJ Hicks with the red shirt, he would have been able to play. But he's injured, so we're not going to get to see anything from him. And then that's a big mystery. When we look at the room, you got Leroy Roker and Deshaun Stewart and Cody Haddad as the younger guys. And then obviously Blaine and Simeon Caldwell coming in as well, who, another guy we're not sure body-wise what happens there and where he ultimately ends up. But with Gebhardt here, it's just another versatile piece of the puzzle. And you got a lot of options. And I love options, especially when they're really talented, hardworking, production machine options. And that's what they got here with Gebhardt, a production machine.
Yeah, I mean, he's just, wherever you put him, he's going to make plays. And that's, I think, and we'll see like what Matt Patricia does like long term. Is he on a 2 or 3 year plan at Ohio State? Is he trying to get back to the NFL? Does he love it so much in college now that this is all he wants to do? Does he want to be a head coach again? There's a lot of things we got to figure out long term that, we won't get into on this episode, but like for a defense that has now kind of embraced the idea of like interchangeable parts and guys being able to play multiple positions and not just kind of pigeonholing guys into one role or one spot, you probably can't have too many Kaden Gebhardts if that's your new defensive philosophy, is to kind of move guys around and have them, no matter what position they play, have them be able to be versatile and do different things.
I love it from a recruiting standpoint. You can just get great football players. You don't need to be so worried about the body type and where he fits. And I think that this is really the difference we're seeing with Patricia. Is a lot of defensive coordinators talk about, I'm going to take the guys and put them in the position that best makes them successful or where they can succeed the most. It's hard to do. It's really hard to do. They all want to do it. He actually gets it done, and he does it so seamlessly, and they seem to pick it up so easily that makes it fun, man. Makes it real fun come signing day.
Yep. So big pickup for Ohio State on signing day, flipping 4-star safety Kaden Gebhardt from Clemson. Buckeyes continue to roll here down the stretch. They've had a great few weeks on the recruiting trail. This is another big win for them. We are going to be rolling out recruiting capsules. We're going to do it a little differently this year. In the past, I've rolled like all 20 some out on signing day. We're not going to do that this year because signing day got moved up 2 weeks. So we're going to have a little bit of gap between the Big Ten championship game that Ohio State's playing Saturday night, if you haven't heard about that yet, and the playoffs starting. So we're going to kind of stagger our capsules out over the next 2 weeks, talk about a few players a day, what Ohio State's getting, what their path to the field might be, recapping their recruitment, all that good stuff. So keep it locked here at BuckeyeHuddle.com and YouTube.com/BuckeyeHuddle as we run down Ohio State's 2026 recruiting class. But thank you everyone for watching and listening, and we'll be right back. Trust me, we'll be right back soon with another one.